Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of How to Sell Your Vision. As always, our goal in this podcast is very clear to bring founders who successfully raise funds and investors who know what it takes to make them get money in your startup. And both of those, from both sides of the table, will allow you to get the right insights on how to raise in today's market. And I'm super excited to have Michael Krikheli with us today, who is the founder of Five Sigma. Now, Five Sigma is quite a unique company. They're using AI to do claim management, and they have pretty cool features like AI adjusters, and they are making the entire insurance claim process flow much better than it is today. Michael, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, Moti, thank you so much for having me. This is so much fun. Um, yeah, happy to share some of the insights we have internally.
Beautiful. So, Michael, before we dive into it, let's dive into Five Sigma. Tell us a bit about the company.
Yeah, so Five Sigma, we're a scale up already 7 years from inception, and our vision and goal is really to automate the entire process of claims management. As you said, we use AI, and we have different AI agents that help us to make this vision a reality. Um, by now, we're working in 4 geographies across different types of claims and companies and customers. We're based out of Tel Aviv, and we have very good investors on our side to help make this vision a reality.
Beautiful, love it. You know, you have your company, which you said is running for about 7 years now, not a small feat to achieve. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And on the way to achieving that, you have raised some pretty significant rounds from your C to A. The company raised over $20 million, and so you're probably doing something right when it comes to fundraising. And let's start with the hard questions first, and then we'll dive into the easier ones later. Now, Michael, if you're about to run into a founder and he or she are starting their fundraising process, what would be the number one and only advice you would give them if you could only give them one?
I would say that they'll have to answer to themselves what's the inner story of why they are doing this, why they are building their startup. Most founders, they have these options to have cushy job somewhere, working well in a big company, no sleepless nights, great great finances and all of this. And most of them have a good kind of internal answer about, all right, so what am I doing here? And that internal answer um, is really what everyone's looking for, and that's really what investors will look for in your company. Like, answer to them why you're doing this, and sometimes they'll just join you for that ride. They're looking for companies to join their rides with, and you have to sell that to yourselves and
Yeah,
then to everyone else.
that's pretty powerful what you're sharing here, because you're right. The journey of a founder is not an easy one. Sleepless nights, weekendless weeks, and you have to have the right passion and grit in order to execute on your vision. And I've interviewed a lot of investors on this podcast as well, and they've shared similar sentiments, saying that if we don't recognize the true passion and motivation and genuine desire to follow this, we're not going to invest, because we invest in founders first. And I'm feeling that this is the sentiment you're sharing as well.
Yes, I think that if it's not 100% of companies when they start, it's not like a linear exponential kind of everything works all the time kind of graph, right? And that's uh, and well, I've never met a founder that's his story. So uh, So that's where this why am I even doing this is the right question to ask, and the answer for it is really your story around, hey, this is what I'm seeing in the market that maybe no one else sees, and this is what the opportunity lies, and kind of where this can go into, and that's really what everyone's looking, right? That they know what to do. And also I think that founders usually, like 90% of the times, are the ones that are the experts in their business, right? They know what's going on. Like they have the answer, like they know why you need to do what they're doing. And they need to come and just, tell this answer to investors and kind of present it to them. And that's kind of how I think this works.
Makes perfect sense. And like many companies today, obviously you're leveraging AI technology and agents in order to facilitate your solution and your services. And I'd love to get your insight on the use of AI in the pitch, because so many companies are putting AI as the front and center of their pitch. And the question is, how do you really differentiate your services, your solution, your AI approach than all the other AI companies out there? How do you go above the threshold?
Yeah, I think that it's a really good question, and really AI is not very different than other technologies. We're in a very good spot right now in this trend, but like it's always kind of, we use X to solve Y, but
Right.
usually and now it's like we use AI agents to solve whatever you're solving. But I think that a lot of what founders need to like convince themselves and the market is that the problem they're solving is a, a problem worth solving, that it exists in the world, and there's like it's, you can do it at scale, and if you solve this, you can create a huge amount of value, and that's where and the best pitches about AI are things like, you know this problem is here for a while now. It was impossible to do before. And now using these
Ah,
tools, it's
right.
now possible, or it's whatever that may be. Like it's, 100 times easier, or 100 times more efficient, or whatnot, right? So I think
Yeah.
that uh, always starting with the problem that you're trying to solve, and then kind of going back to why this technology allows you to solve it, is the right way to go.
So focus on the technology as an enabler and not the actual, you know, focal point of your pitch, because at the end of the day, you're coming in to transform some kind of process. And
Yes.
that process is what the investor in front of you is looking to understand first.
Yeah. If you're coming with, hey, I'm doing an AI thing, it's like investors, they have full days with 30 meetings a day, and like probably 29 of them are saying that they're using AI now, right? So
Right.
so that, like, that's the environment that you're playing with, and that's where you kind of need to come with, all right, so I'm solving this problem, and yes, we're using AI to do that, and that's why it's going to help, right? So that's, I think, what's interesting. I think that on choosing the problems, um, investors and founders should look for problems that are hard to solve.
Right.
And if it's not the case, it's just really hard to kind of differentiate in a way that kind of creates a mode that says, hey, I'm going to be here for 5, 10, 15 years and accumulate value that I bring to the world. Because if you're solving a very easy problem, it's really hard to convince a VC that you'll be the next Amazon if you're solving a small problem, an easy.
Actually, the way you position it now is very interesting. And I've never heard anyone position it like this before, that investors are looking for problems that are hard to solve.
Yes.
Um, And that is where I think why many founders and pitches fail, because they want to demonstrate the quick win, the quick run. And this is kind of instantaneous. And
Yes.
if it's instantaneous, it's probably can easily be instantaneously eliminated. So I love the
Yeah.
way you're saying, find a problem that is hard to solve and solve it.
Yeah. So a problem that's worth solving, that's
Right.
that exists, and then also probably a problem that's hard enough that if it works, won't like have, hey, here's 20 other companies that was just spawned yesterday and solved the same problem.
Yeah.
You know.
Phenomenal. I love it. We spoke a little bit about storytelling in our intro call. And I gotta say, it's amazing to see someone who's on one hand, a mathematician, but on the other hand, has really good appreciation for storytelling as well. Not
Yeah.
many can balance those two together. I'm a words person. I cannot do math for the life of me. Um, but if it will come to it, I'll call you.
You have my phone number.
Have you remember? Talk to me about the importance of storytelling in your pitch.
Yeah, I think that I think that as we said, once you kind of have this inner truth, your inner your inner reasons that you're doing what you're doing, the next step of it is to tell it to someone else that has limited bandwidth, limited time, sees a lot of companies such as yourselves, and tell them, and like crisp, tell it in a crisp way enough that they will like remember something about it, that they will
Right,
understand what you're trying to achieve. And storytelling is part of it. Like going through PowerPoints is tedious, like we all see that.
right,
And like reading a great book or seeing a great movie is essentially like you know getting a story
right,
back to you. And investors are humans; they like stories, and they have these 20 minutes meetings, half an hour, whatever that may be. They need to kind of have some interest in what you're saying, and that's kind of that part of that storytelling is critical. I also think that, and a lot of Israeli founders definitely are missing, is that it's also very interesting to ask questions, because all investors that you're talking to, they have their opinions and views on your market and on the things that you're the things that you're trying to achieve. And you can actually just start the meeting with, hey, we're building in insurance. What do you think about this space right now? And like they'll tell you something, and that will be a much more conversational a conversational interesting discussion for both sides, rather
yeah,
than just, hey, here's what we do, slide 1, slide 2, slide 20, and then thank you
100%.
note on the on the end of it. Like having this, because everyone's kind of asking, like they sit there and they ask questions in their minds, and you're trying to kind of answer these questions with these slides, and you can just talk to them and they'll ask you these questions, and you're the expert, as we said, so you'll just answer it,
I love the way, again, I really love the way you're phrasing things, because at the end of the day, a lot of founders, when they come into the meeting, I think, and I see it as much as well, they forget they have a person on the other side. And you need to engage, you need to entertain, you need to make it fun and light. And they often come in and push the data or the information on the investor. But why do that when you, to your point, can ask a question and pull the investor in? So don't push the data at your investor, pull the investor into your data.
Yes, 100%. And then also, if in the 5 minutes of the discussion they say, hey, we don't believe in AI for insurance, well, it will save you 20, 20 slides of presentation going about AI and insurance, so
Yeah,
yeah. And also
phenomenal.
the other thing, I think just on that point, it, like the pitches and kind of getting the rounds are the first step of your relationship, right?
Right,
After that, you're going to work with these guys for a while.
right.
So while they're looking at you, you also want to kind of figure out if this guy that you're talking to uh, will be on your board for a while.
Right.
Like you have a connection with them, you can work with them. These types of
If
things
there's
are
a
also
match,
important.
absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
And again, many founders in the quest for money, and which is kind of, it's a very intense quest. Forget that there is an equal opportunity at the table, meaning I'm giving equity, but you're getting an opportunity. But at the end of the day, we have to work together. And if you're just focused on getting the money, having a bad investor on your board is not a fun experience.
Oh, it kills companies every
Yeah,
day, I think, in our world. So yes.
phenomenal. Listen, Michael, this is really great. We are nearing the end of the discussion. I want to focus on the topic of storytelling very well, because you're articulating it very well. Are there any kind of storytelling techniques or elements of storytelling that you think are important to incorporate in your pitch?
Yeah, I think that uh, I think that one of the important stuff, and hard, it's very hard to do, is kind of have your one liner, and like not necessarily in the slides or anything like that, but like you know after that day of 30 meetings with 30 startups, the investor you met needs to kind of have one line that he remembers about Five Sigma. That is that company that does X, and you kind of want to steer the conversation so that that X, what he remembers about you, is kind of your essence, and not, oh yeah, these guys are doing something about insurance is not a good kind of, hey, yeah, that's what I remember, right? But oh, these guys want to automate the entire claim process. It's a better one, and you need to kind of have that written for yourself at least, and you
Right.
probably want to have that in like big bold letters somewhere in your deck, and across your presentation.
So true, because at the end of the day, they're not going to remember your go to market. They're not going to remember your projections. They're not going to remember your product. They're not going to remember your features. But if you can come up with a memorable, sticky line that
Yes.
says, oh, insurance adjusters, I hate dealing with insurance adjusters. These guys just pop to mind. I can relate. I can remember.
Yeah.
And that is very powerful, because out of the 500 decks they're seeing a month, they're
Yes.
going to remember the catchy phrases. As as may, as sad as it may be, they're going to remember the catchy phrase. They're not going to
Yeah.
remember your entire pitch.
And I think that like they're gonna remember a catchy phrase. They're gonna remember your passion and kind of the fact that
Energy. Right.
oh yeah, these guys are really into it, and they're gonna, and at the end of the day, everyone's gonna look at the numbers. Everyone's gonna look at the market. Like they're gonna do their work, but at the end of their day, like they're gonna remember just all of these few things, and then they'll go back to your deck to say, oh yeah, actually they have a good business and a good opportunity. That's interesting to follow up.
Yeah. It reminds me of Adam Sandler in the last Oscars. I don't know if you've seen it, where everyone is wearing, their black tux, and he came up with his steel hoodie on.
Yeah,
You just remember the guy. That's it. He's different
yeah,
in the game, and that is the purpose of a catchy phrase, to make you memorable in an easy way.
yeah,
Michael, that was so powerful. I really, really appreciate the time you devoted for this session. First and foremost, for our audience that is listening, if you need a solution, an AI solution that can really amplify your insurance claims processes, if it aligns with your work, then I'm sure Michael would love to get in touch with you. And I think that now, here, Michael, you know why I was able to successfully raise multiple rounds. A lot of powerful insights. Michael, I wish you and Five Sigma all the best and of luck I can offer you. Thank you so much for sharing your insights.
Thank you for having me, Mati. It was really great to talk to you.
Thank you.